Testing, 1, 2. Oh, that's great. Yeah. Hello, everyone. Let's take a seat. I think a lot of people have arrived at this point, and maybe we could get started. All right. So good evening. I'm Jessie Carpenter, the city clerk for the city of Tacoma Park. And you are here tonight to nominate candidates for mayor and city council in the 2017 election. The mayor and council members elected this year will serve 3-year terms. The next election will take place in 2020 when 2-year terms will resume. We'll begin the nominations in just a moment, but I have a couple of introductions and some announcements. Irma Navarte, the assistant city clerk, will be here to assist with gathering the cards from folks who nominate or second a nomination. We have a couple members of the Board of Elections here tonight, Brian Ernst, who is the chair, and Arthur David Olson, who's the vice chair. And let me take a minute to review the rules for the meeting, and then I'll ask if there are any questions. The meeting is open to the public, of course, but participation is limited to eligible voters of the city. If you're nominating or seconding the nomination of a candidate for mayor, you must be a registered voter at an address in the city of Tacoma Park. If you are nominating or seconding the nomination of a candidate for city council, you must be a registered voter at an address in his or her ward. If you plan to place a name in nomination or second a nomination, you should have an index card which indicates that you're eligible to participate. If you don't have an index card, go to the check-in table outside and they will assist you there. On the card, you should write your name, address, and ward. When you speak, please come up to the microphone so that you'll be on camera and your voice will be heard by everyone. If you cannot come to the podium, please raise your hand and staff will bring a microphone to you. So when you approach the podium, present your index card to Ms. Navarte. Before you begin your statement, please state your full name and ward for the record. You do not have to state your address out loud, but state your full name and your ward. Finally, remarks are limited to 3 minutes. There's a timer at the podium. The lights will help you keep track of your time. When the timer first beeps, you'll have 30 more seconds. When the light turns red and the timer beeps again, your time is up. Are there any questions? Okay. So the city charter requires that you elect a resident to serve as secretary of the meeting, who will make a record of the nominations and file the record with me. Brian Ernst, who is a resident of Ward 3 and chair of the Board of Elections, is willing to serve as secretary for tonight. Is there any objection to his serving as secretary? No. May I have a motion to appoint him as secretary for this evening? Second? All in favor? Aye. Okay. Any opposed? All right. So Mr. Ernst will serve as secretary for the meeting. All right. The order of nominations for tonight is as follows: Ward 4, then 2, Ward 1, Ward 3, Ward 5, and then Ward 6. I'm getting an echo somewhere. Okay. This order was determined by lot at a Board of Elections meeting on September 8th. After the ward nominations for the office of mayor will be taken. So if there are no questions, it's time to begin. Nominations are in order for one council member for Ward 4. Is there a nomination for the office of council member Ward 4? I see Pat Lovelace here. Yep. He'll need a microphone, Bien? Okay. Yes. All right. Okay.
Okay. Okay, my name is Pat Lovelace, your official peace delegate, and I live and love Ward 4. One thing I've experienced is something called teamwork. We all know how valuable teamwork is. So when we vote for our candidates, we got to be thinking of what we're actually going to get and what we have gotten in the past. We're getting 2 people for the price of 1. So like we all like to stretch our buck a little further, we got to stretch our vote a little further this time too. And I'd like to ask people to, when they really think about it, what do they really want for their city council? What does Tacoma Park really stand for? And I know downright well who I'm voting for. And I'd like to nominate Terry Seaman as my future council member for Ward 4. Because he's shown me a lot of caring over the years. He's gone above and beyond the call of duty for me. Before he had his heart operation, he used to wheel me down from my apartment down to here to the city council meetings every week for over a decade. Over a decade, probably 12 years or more. And he's shown me a lot of consideration and caring. I'd like to thank him for his part in letting people know when I was in the hospital at the end of July, because he took part in sending me a large amount of flowers, which everybody loved, and I loved very much, and I will never forget it, because he's showing that he's not just a city council member, but a decent, upright, standing human being. And in politics, you don't get honest politicians very often, so we really got to think, do we want to lose what we've already got and take a chance with something we don't know anything about? I want to keep my city council member. He's shown me personally a lot of upright caring. He's brought us food packages and brought us our events at the Franklin Apartments where I live. And his wife has helped with that also, Joyce. So when you get Terry, you get Joyce, and she helps us out. She helps out with the city events. They're always taking us to the polls when it's time to vote. And I'd like to again tell everybody I'm nominating Terry Seaman for city council. Thank you very much. Love it, love it, love it.
Thank you, Mr. Lovelace. Is there a second to the nomination of Terry Seaman? Can you come to the podium? There you go.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening. Good evening.
Good evening.
I'm Overseer Gladys Harvey, and I live in Ward 4, and I second to nominate Terry Seaman for Ward 4. I've been with Mr. Seaman and Mrs. Seaman, Joyce, and Mr. Terry for years and years and years. I have seen all the work that they have done in the neighborhood and all around. I work very, very closely to them. And they are, like Mr. The man here said, that they are a team. I work with that team. They work very, very hard. They give food. I don't care what goes on in the neighborhood. If people put out, they go and in the nighttime, all times of night, and I see them giving food and doing all kinds of stuff, giving the poor. I mean, they just like the ever-ready battery, go on and on and on and on.
Hey, Ms. Harvey, Ms. Harvey, can you speak into the microphone?
Yes, and they just go on and on and on and on. And so I just nominate them because they are wonderful. Just like you do get both of them. When you get one, you get two, because they are a team, and they are a good team. So, Mr. Terry, you got my vote.
All right.
Would anyone else like to second the nomination of Terry Seaman? Can you come up? Pardon? Yes. And will you come up next? April. Oh, sorry. Okay. Just. Sorry.
Apryl Kissel, Ward 4. I proudly second the nomination of Terry Seaman for Ward 4 City Council member. I've had the pleasure of knowing Councilmember Seaman for most of the 10 years that I have spent as a Tacoma Park resident. Terry is a highly conscientious member of the City Council. He invariably knows what he is speaking about and generally falls on the right side of the issue. He strives to represent all members of his district. He has generated, as you can see, a loyal following among Ward 4 residents during his tenure. Before moving to Tacoma Park in 2006, I lived in Riverdale Park. My council member at that time, who will remain nameless, ignored all of my requests for assistance and attempts to raise awareness of various city issues. The only time that I saw that guy was when it was time to collect his signature for the petition for re-election to the city council, which, like an idiot, I provided. Terry is much different. He cares about his job and his constituents. Even a serious health problem has not broken his stride. With Joyce by his side, he will continue to stand Ward 4 in good stead if reelected. I support his nomination and his election. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who'd like to second?
Good evening. My name is Susan Hartley. I'm from Ward 4. I second Terry's nomination. I have a quick story to tell you about Terry. I live in Parkview Towers, and my balcony faces Essex House. So one summer day, this lady was getting put out. She was being evicted, and all her stuff was out there. And I said, oh, my God. And then I see these 2 U-Haul trucks drive up. Who gets out of one of them U-Haul trucks? Terry Seaman. Someone gets out of another U-Haul truck, and they put all that stuff in the U-Haul truck and help that lady out. That's Terry Seaman. He cares about us very dearly. I second you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who would like to speak as a second to Mr. Seaman's nomination?
Hi, I'm Catherine Phillips. I'm a neighbor and Ward 4 resident. First, Terry Seaman. I'd like to nominate him. Second, the nomination. I was here last time to nominate Terry, and I'm here again to do it. He's an outstanding member of the community, and his service record are impeccable. A vote for Terry is not only a vote for yourself for your issues and to protect Ward 4 residents, but it's also asking Terry to serve the community, which he does with the most incredible amount of vigor I've ever seen anybody serve. I can't say enough about him. Everybody else has spoken before me, has already touched on all the points that I would have brought up. Please vote for Terry.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who wanted to speak as a second to the nomination? Okay, seeing none, are there any additional nominations for council member for Ward 4? Right, seeing none. Is there a motion to close nominations for council member Ward 4? And I guess that's a second also. All in favor of closing the nominations? Okay, any opposed? All right, so that's Ward 4. Let's move on to Ward 2. Nominations are now in order for council member from Ward 2. So you can come forward. Uh-oh.
Good evening. My name is Carol Oliver, frequently referred to as Kiki, and I reside at Ward 2. I nominate Ashley Nugent for our city council member representing Ward 2, and here's why. When Ashley moved to Tacoma Park, she continued her lifelong commitment to volunteering, caring, and sharing, and immediately became involved in the community by volunteering for parents of adult children with disabilities. This go-to lady didn't stop her. She expanded her volunteering by helping to organize fundraisers and programs like our annual school supply drive, Valentine's for Veterans, the Warrior Canine Connection, McVets, a Veterans Center for Education and Training, and the Feline Rescue Association, and I'm just naming a few. She volunteers for the Tacoma Foundation fundraiser and offers free legal advice for veterans, a group not represented by a committee in the City of Tacoma Park government. I have witnessed her compassion for those in need, her amazing talent for problem solving, and working tirelessly towards goals. She is often and always heard saying, "How can I help?" Ashley's vision of a diverse Tacoma Park, a safe Tacoma Park, with smart growth, community engagement, and all public places disability accessible should resonate with all residents. I am confident that she will fight for the best interests of the residents of our ward, as well as all citizens of Tacoma Park. Whether you have lived here for 1 year or decades like myself, she wants to get to know you, and she wants to discuss your aspirations and your concerns, and Ashley is a wonderful listener. I grew up here. I attended Janus Ray Elementary School. I have watched Tacoma Park evolve and change for over 60 years. Sometimes for the good and sometimes the not so good. No council member that I have ever reached out to has ever satisfactorily addressed a problem or concern. But for the first time in my adult life, I am confident and excited that we will have a council member who will address the problems and concerns of us, the forgotten voices. In Ashley, we will have a champion. And Ashley doesn't just talk the talk, she walks the walk. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there a second to the nomination of Ashley Nugent? Would you like to come up?
Hi, everybody. My name is Arsen. I'm actually Ashley's next door neighbor. I'm a junior at Montgomery Blair High School. I have known Ashley for almost a year now, and I'm proud to say that I support her in her campaign. When people say they want to give a voice to all residents, they usually mean adults, no offense, but Ashley is actively working to make youth's voice be heard in Tacoma Park. Civic engagement is a topic that youth, as all of us, need to be engaged more, because the decisions officials make not only affect you guys, but also affect us. She and I, along with the other Blair students, have started a project called Get Out and Vote project. The initiative aims to register Blair students, even the ones that are not in Ward 2, to register and vote. In this day and age, youths need to have their voice be heard, and Ashley is here to make sure that everybody's voice is heard. So please stand with Ashley and me to get more youth involved in our community, and we've already hit the ground running with our work, and we plan to do much, much more. Thank you, and have a good night.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who wants to speak as a second to the nomination of Ashley Nugent? Why don't you come up, and then...
Good evening, everybody. Thanks for coming. Mary Jane Machui, Ward 2. I proudly would like to nominate Ashley Nugent for our next council person. Can you still hear me? I have lived my 32 years in Ward 2. My son, Christopher, was born here in Washington Adventist Hospital 32 years also. And his life has not been easy. He has autism and depression, and the physical problems with most people with developmental disabilities also have, which people don't realize. There are a lot of people in this town who care about good causes, but very few care about people with developmental and psychiatric disabilities, and Ashley's one of them. And I think it's gutsy for her to stand up for us, because we are the lowest person on the totem pole, really. When your brain doesn't function right, you are the lowest person. And thank you. And I also would like to say that that she also cares about the housing, and sometimes people can't afford their housing, whether they're living in a house or they're living in an apartment. Housing is very expensive here, and Ashley cares about that, and she cares about us low-income people like me and my son. And I have information, if anybody wants any information about tax credits, property tax credits in Tacoma Park, and actually the state of Maryland, let me know, and I'll give you information here. And also there's information for people with renters. I don't know if all of you know, there's some kind of renters tax credit program, which I don't know too much about, but this might help some if you're interested. Thank you very much for listening.
Thank you. Did anyone else want to speak? Let's come up. Just
sorry, you go ahead. I'll sit here.
Hello, I'm Ava Badaki, and I'm a Ward 2 resident. Sadly enough, the world does not reset itself for each new generation. That means, for better or for worse, the youth of Tacoma Park, us, have to live with the decisions made by our city council. Ashley Nugent knows that. Though we are too young to vote, she listens to what we have to say. She understands us, and she can represent us. Not just the youth of Tacoma Park, everyone. We all want a fairer and more prosperous city, and Ashley can make that happen. That's why I'm voting for Ashley Nugent.
Is there anyone else who wanted to second this nomination? Okay.
Hi, everybody. I'm Terry Moreland. My husband, Jonathan, and I are residents of Ward 2, and I wanted to second the nomination of Ashley Nugent. Jonathan and I have lived here in this community for about 15 years, and we've always sort of keenly observed what was going on in the political world on all levels, but I've never actually endorsed anybody before, and I'm proud to do that tonight. Ashley is very genuine. She's very caring. She's sincere, and as you've heard from everybody else here, she's very much committed to all people in this community, and I think that's extremely important. I think a fresh approach that she can bring is going to be a very important, significant thing for our community, and I'm very proud to endorse her. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who wanted to speak as a second? Come. I'll take it. Yes.
Hi, my name is Catherine Cummings. I live in Ward 2, and I'm here to nominate Ashley Nugent as well. And a lot of what I was going to say has already been said, but I will say a couple things I think are important. In my neighborhood, Long Branch, Sligo, and in Ward 2, environmental issues are of paramount importance to many of the people who live there. And when I first met Ashley, I brought up some of the issues that we care a lot about in our neighborhood. And Ashley, as everyone has said, was an excellent listener and really open-minded about these issues. And she connected the dots really quick, like how that fit in with some of her other ideas about her efforts with the disabled and making Tacoma Park more accessible for them. And she kind of really easily connected all of the issues that were sort of important to us. So I'm very proud to be supporting Ashley Nugent, and I'm really excited. I see in Ashley the kind of person that I think will really represent us really well here on the council, and I'm just very excited to be part of her team. So thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who wanted to speak as a second? All right. Seeing none, are there any additional nominations for council member for Ward 2? Come on up.
Good evening. I'm Sally Tabor, and I'm a resident of Ward 2. I'm very pleased to nominate my friend Cindy DeBala for City Council. I've known Cindy for many years, starting when we both had young children, sharing a carpool to nursery school, followed by when she coached my son's soccer team. I know her as someone who is very involved in and committed to Tacoma Park, including serving as co-chair of 2 city committees, the Committee on the Environment and the Recreation Committee. In our neighborhood, I appreciate her efforts to raise citizen funds to help the city purchase Dorothy's Woods, which is on Lower Woodland Avenue, the last remaining large woodlot in private hands in the city. I've participated in the volunteer efforts she organized to remove invasive plants and trash from the woods. This has been a team effort, with many people volunteering their time to come and work several times a year. But you always need a leader, someone to set the date, send the emails, and make sure we have knowledgeable plant experts to guide us in our work. As co-chair of the Committee on the Environment for 4 years, she has worked to make energy efficiency and sustainability a priority for City Council. And she has helped to adopt policies and programs from green city purchasing to polystyrene, plastic bags, pesticides, and the home energy challenge. In her years on the Recreation Committee, she has worked to move our city programs so that they reach a broader range of our community's residents and focus on underserved seniors and youth. She helped develop the Winter Basketball League, which was a tremendous success, starting from the first year with 350 youth, and they're now serving over 600, I mean. Cindy will listen to Ward 2 residents about their concerns. She will focus on practical solutions and building consensus for efficient and effective city government. Cindy will bring to the council her skills, relationship, and leadership, the commitment to an inclusive community, and her focus on sustainability and energy, environment, and our local economy. She will be a great leader on council. Thank you.
Thank you. It looks like we have a second to the nomination.
Good evening. I was born at Venice, and I grew up in Ward 2 with a village of parents, one of which Cindy was a part of. I attribute a lot of the worldview and sort of positive attributes of people that I grew up with to the influence of the adults in our neighborhood. Cindy was always a source of wisdom and competence and trust, I found. I actually played in the basketball league. I didn't realize Cindy started it, but I played in the Winter Basketball League when I was growing up. I love Tacoma Park very much. I'm 26. I left. I'm a unicorn. There's no one who's 26 who lives here. There's 3 others. I love Tacoma Park very much, and I will say Tacoma Park is not and should remain not Chevy Chase, Bethesda. Cindy is our best hope of keeping it that way. Thank you.
Hi, can you take a quick moment and say your name?
Oh, my name is Tom Clement. I live at Elma Avenue, Ward 2.
Thanks. Are there any additional seconds for Cindy DeBala's candidacy? Okay.
Hi, everyone. I'm Walter Mulberry, live on Woodland Avenue with my wife and departed children who are 26. I've known Cindy for over 20 years, I guess 26, since our children were born about the same time. And beyond knowing her as the mom of the friend of my daughters, I grew to know her after the kids were sort of gone as one who was really a great volunteer and leader in the community on a host of issues. And I think the issues that she's worked on, everything from the Recreation Department to the Environment Committee, sort of run the gamut of the things that are important in Tacoma Park, and she's shown both the interest in that large range of activities, which is fantastic. And as a person who's worked on city committees before through different years, it's great to have someone who's actually done it and knows how the city works and has the relationships in the city to keep those sort of things going. So I think the things she's done before for all these years gives her a great, it's a great experience that I think she'd be a great city council person. So thanks very much.
Thank you. Is there anyone else?
Good evening. My name is Maria Alva Maldonado, and I live in Ward 2. And I'm very pleased to second the nomination of Cindy Dybala and to be candidate for the Tacoma Park City Council for Ward 2. With Cindy on the City Council, we obviously will gain a leader with great depth of experience in the sustainability of a thriving environment. However, I'm really pleased to be supporting her and be on her team this year because we will also be gaining a council person who's extremely intelligent and who leads. And she leads by listening to those around her. She thoroughly researches. She deftly assesses and frames issues and concerns and options. And most importantly, she shares these assessments with those around her. She takes action, and more often than not, we take action together. Tacoma Park is a wonderful community, and it's a strong community. And Cindy Dybala shares the values of many of us who've sought it out and who've chosen to stay here and make it our home. She's committed to a truly inclusive community. She's committed to issues of young families and older families alike, and she has a deep appreciation for and values all cultures. And in this era of the ever-widening gap in the U.S. incomes, she is vigilant about policies that would make our community no longer affordable for or accessible to families and students who are not homeowners, to those whose families earn less, and for those who are now retired. I know of her commitment to these values because it's how she lives her life. She was an involved parent at Rolling Terrace. She's been a soccer coach. She's worked with and supported students through immigrant students through Casa de Maryland and through other organizations. And as co-chair of the Recreation Committee, her leadership sought to reshape the athletic program so that more Tacoma Park youth would have access to dynamic athletic programs. And her work in growing the athletic programs has been amazingly successful. And of course, her choices in education and her life work have been in the arena of environmental policy and in planning. She does believe in science, I'm glad to report. Cindy Dybala has already shared her knowledge, her experience, tremendous volunteer work, skilled policy and leadership through her work with the Recreation and Environmental Committees in Tacoma Park. And I'm very pleased to second her nomination so that we can all benefit from her leadership on the Tacoma Park City Council. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who wanted to speak as a second to the nomination of Cindy Dybala? All right. Thank you. Okay.
My name is Cathy Porter, and I want to second Cindy's nomination. I've lived in Ward 2 for quite a long time, and as many of you know, I've also been involved in Tacoma Park politics for a long time. So I think I can speak about what it really takes to be an effective council member. I'd say that those of us in Ward 2 are fortunate that we have several excellent candidates running for this office. But let me tell you why I think Cindy is special. I've worked with Cindy on a number of things. Cindy is one of those people, we talk about citizen activists in Tacoma Park, but I have to say probably most of us aren't as active as we really would like to be. Cindy is one of those people who, by God, has done everything. She has served on the committees. She currently serves with me, for example, on the Tacoma Foundation. She's been on the foundation board for, I think, a little over a year. And she's one of those people, when people get on the foundation board, as you may know, the Tacoma Foundation is a totally volunteer organization. We have no staff. All the work of the foundation, the raising of money, the giving out of grants, the doing all of the other things that we do, the Azalea Awards, is all done by volunteers. Cindy got on we always ask people, what committee would you like to be on? And Cindy said, typical Cindy said, whatever you need me to do, I'll do whatever you need me to do. So we said, oh, great, how about you're on fundraising? Well, through, as you know, this is something we always need, through a series of unfortunate circumstances, Cindy ended up within a month or two of running the foundation fundraising committee. And she did a yeoman's work. She just jumped in there, she plunged in, she did the really, really hard work that needs to be done to make fundraising for a small community foundation work. And she's one of those people, not only is she always ready to do things, but she also follows through. I mean, any of you who've been involved with small volunteer organizations know that you always have a lot of people who want to get involved. But by the time you've been there for about 6 months, most of those people are gone. Life happens, stuff goes on, and they don't show up anymore. Cindy, by God, is one of those people who is there. We just had a meeting about a week ago talking about fundraising for the upcoming Tacoma Foundation mailing that'll be going out at the end of the year, and you all will certainly be getting a copy. But she's in there, and she's doing the work. She sticks with it. She follows up. She's also one of the kindest people I've ever met. You talk about people who are willing to sit and listen. When you talk to them, and she never tells you, oh, she's too busy, or I have to move on to the next thing. She is one of the most genuinely kind, welcoming people who just listens to people, just wants to know what's going on with them and what she can do for them, that I have ever met. And she's also, as I said, one of those people who sort of embodies the Tacoma Park spirit. She's involved in the Tacoma Foundation, raising money for low-income groups and kids in Tacoma Park. She's part of the Tacoma Foundation. She's just one of those people who embodies the spirit of Tacoma Park more than almost anyone else I know. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who wanted to speak as a second to the nomination of Cindy Dybala? You do?
Hi, my name is Karen Kruger, and I don't know that Cindy needs me after the stellar comments that have been made about her this evening. I also live in Ward 2, obviously, on Lincoln. And I know a lot of people tonight have talked about Cindy and her incredible spirit of giving that she has made to our community as a whole. I have been involved in politics, not here. I took a break when I moved to Tacoma Park years ago, about 15 years ago. I come from Austin, where I did for a living work on many, many local issue and candidate campaigns. And I know that it takes an awful lot to decide to give of yourself to this profession. Even though this is a part-time position. I have my full confidence is behind Cindy. We all know her work in the community. One of the things that we didn't talk about a whole lot tonight is her professional career. And one of the things that she's done for, 15 years, something like that, is her work as a policy analyst. Now, so I wouldn't forget, I Googled it. The Merriam-Webster definition of to analyze is to study or determine the nature and relationship of the parts of something. And I've seen Cindy do this in action at meetings to meet the members of Ward 2, just to kind of get their take, their feedback, what's important to them, their issues. And I've done a lot of these. I've done a lot of these house parties in Austin. But Cindy sits, she takes it in, she hears you, and she stops and she pauses, and she analyzes what you have to say, where you're coming from, before she says anything. She hears you. I can't imagine someone who could be better as a representative of Ward 2 to work with our other city council members for this marvelous, crazy, quirky little town that we have. She's a wonderful analyst. She's a wonderful community activist and organizer. She's a wonderful analyst. And she's going to make a wonderful city council member. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who wanted to second this nomination?
Hi, I'm Jane Harman. I also live in Ward 2 and am a parent of one of the missing 26-year-olds now in Philadelphia, but who toured South Asia with the daughter of Cindy. So it took a village to raise these adventurous kids, let me tell you. And I've known Cindy for a long, long time. And as the other 26-year-old who got up here and spoke, she is someone who is a guide, who's very wise, who respects people of all ages, all income levels. I don't know that it's come up yet tonight, but Cindy is the daughter of immigrants, and she's also a host for American, what do you call it, AFS students, foreign students. And she understands being in a different culture and what it means. And so that's another thing I wanted to bring up about Cindy. But I have also seen her in tough situations with our kids, and she is an analyst. She listens to everyone, and just as the last speaker said, she takes in a lot of information. She doesn't get stuck in one lane and say, I'm never changing, I'm never changing, I'm never changing. Cindy listens, and she gauges what's going on around her, and she makes the appropriate decisions. So she's going to be a marvelous city council member. I urge all of my fellow citizens of Ward 2 to get out the vote for Cindy.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who wanted to speak to the nomination of Cindy Dybala? All right, seeing no one, are there additional nominations for council member for Ward 2?
Hi, my name is Adelaide Harris. I'm a Ward 2 resident, and I'm 16, which means I get to vote for the first time this fall. And I'll be voting for Joe Ejiofor. Joe has dedicated himself to this community from his work on city committees, keeping our roadways and our environment safe, to his leading of the effort to build the dog park, as well as his interest in the youth of Tacoma Park and what we have to offer to the community, going so far as to pick a director of youth outreach, who would be myself. Joe is a neighbor in every sense of the word, and I believe that he would bring those values to the council. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there a second to the nomination of Joe Ejiofor? Okay, come on up.
Hi, my name is Rootaberger Kadish. I'm also a resident of Ward 2, and I'm delighted and honored to second Joe's nomination. I have known Joe since they moved into the neighborhood in 2005, and he has been, as Adelaide said, a true neighbor. We've spent many an evening standing at the corner of Larch and Elm discussing various issues where Joe has organized neighbors to come together to talk about whether it's the dog park or the lighting situation or the speed bump or more recently the sidewalk situation. And I have to say, someone talked before about a council person needing resilience and stick to it isness, whatever, can't conjugate that properly. And I can say that without a doubt that Joe has that in spades. It took us, I don't know how many years to get our little stretch of sidewalk, but Joe stuck with it and saw it through. And I think that's one of the things that I'm most impressed by is Joe's ability to get things done. You know, he takes the theory and he puts it together with the practice, and he takes the optimal, right, the aspirational, and finds also the practical and what can get done, what can actually make happen, and gets that done, whether it's the sidewalk or the speed bump or the dog park. And I'm sure if you were at the 4th of July parade, you saw the most amazing, I don't know how else to describe it other than a huge brown Clifford that they made. So really phenomenal. And I have no doubt that Joe will be a terrific council person, a council member, and will get things done. And I also have the pleasure of occasionally commuting downtown on bicycles with Joe. We kind of run into each other and then continue. And he always I think he always takes a detour to stay on my route. And we get half an hour, so however long it takes us to get downtown, to really talk about ideas and policies. And I've always been impressed with the depth and thought that and breadth of knowledge that he brings to the various issues. Again, whether it's the most, was that a sign for me that 30 seconds? The most pedestrian issues, or the more high theory ideas. That so I'm excited to see what he'll do for our community, and I'm very excited to support him. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I think there's someone else who wants to speak as second to the nomination.
Barbara Mulberry, Ward 2. I hereby second the nomination of Joe Ejiofor for Ward 2 City Council. I've known Joe for over 14 years, most of it in Tacoma Park, and I think I know him better than anybody at this point. And I think he is the best candidate to represent the people of Ward 2 on the City Council. Joe is very knowledgeable, experienced, reliable, responsive, very diligent, and extremely hardworking. He's been involved in many volunteer activities for the city, including, but definitely not limiting, as chair of the Task Force for the Environment, chair of the Safe Roadways Committee, and the leader in the effort to bring Tacoma Park's first dog park to completion. So I highly recommend you vote for Joe Ejiofor for Ward 2 City Council.
Thank you. Is there someone else who would like to second the nomination?
Yes.
Good evening. My name is Jennifer Shields. I live on Elm Avenue in Ward 2. And yes, I look just like somebody else who nominated Joe Ejiofor. That's my daughter. I couldn't stop myself tonight from being able to say some words about Joe, because he really has been an incredible neighbor to our family and to our dog, who is not the most pleasant and easy German Shepherd. But Joe was even kind and good to us when we first got our dog, and our dog was scaring people, and Joe had a lot of patience and helped us become better dog owners. Joe cares, as Ruti said. He will get down into the littlest details of whatever it is someone cares about. He's very patient, and he's a good listener. And like a dog, a bulldog, he does not let go. He will keep working and listening and trying. He's been really trying to help us with traffic problems in our neighborhood and the safety because of cut-through traffic. And we've really appreciated his time. Joe cares a lot about the environment, which you can tell by the way he's set up his home and all the work he's done to make sure that we can walk and have charging stations. And he's served the community a great deal already. And I hope that you will all vote for him so he can continue to serve us in Ward 2. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who wanted to speak to the nomination of Joe Ejiofor? Okay, seeing none, are there additional nominations for Ward 2 City Council? All right, seeing none, is there a motion to close nominations for Ward 2? Is there a second? Yes, there's a second. All in favor? Okay. Any opposed? All right, so the nominations are closed for Ward 2. The next one up is Ward 1. Are there nominations for City Council Member Ward 1? We'll take it. That's okay. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Rocco Casagrande, and I live in Ward 1, and I'd like to heartily nominate Peter Kovar for our councilman for Ward 1. I moved here about 10 years ago in 2006, when I moved with my family and my business to Tacoma Park. And since that time, I've spent all day and all night in Ward 1 because I work and live here. And I have to say, I've interacted a lot with people in city government, and there are several very engaged professionals that work for city government here. One of them is Peter Kovar, and I must say he is extremely engaged and takes the time to research what the problems are that people have that he could potentially solve, and what their issues are, and how they need help. And he also takes the time to not only engage with the people who are voters here, but the people who work here who don't vote, the people who own businesses here who don't vote, to make it a better community for everyone who lives and works here. I also have to say that he's a great listener in such that when it came to the property tax issue, the adjustment to the property tax that came up, I had some concerns about it that were largely based on my own ignorance. I didn't quite understand how the property tax worked and the ability of council to raise and lower it. He took the time to understand my concerns and educate me on why I was mistaken, as opposed to just dismissing me as a crank, which, you know, with all the diversity of opinions we have in this community and people with very, very strong opinions, none of which are the most informed opinions, it takes a unique politician to listen to wrong-headedness and inject facts into the debate and correct it in a very productive way, which is one of the reasons I'd like to nominate Peter Kovar. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there a second to the nomination of Peter Kovar for Ward 1 City Council Member?
I hated that Peter asked me to do this because I don't like doing public speaking, but I'll try. My name is Sandy Egan. I live in Ward 1 and have for the last 36 years. I'm pleased and honored to second the nomination for Peter Kovar for Ward 1 Council Member. I've known Peter and his family for over 23 years. Peter has always been a valuable asset to the Tacoma Park community. He helped establish the village of Tacoma Park, of which I am a part, and has served as its vice president for many years. He has served on many committees in Tacoma Park and has given selflessly of his time, energy, and knowledge to Tacoma Park causes. Peter is known to seek compromise whenever possible. He is excellent at keeping Ward 1 residents informed about all the issues, and he works tirelessly on our behalf. Families want to move to Tacoma Park because of the kind of activist, concerned, caring community that we have created. And Peter Kovar has worked for years to help make Tacoma Park what it is today. And he will continue to work hard for Ward 1 and all the City of Tacoma Park residents. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who wanted to speak as a second to the nomination of Peter Kovar? All right, seeing none, are there any additional nominations for Ward 1 City Council Member? No. Seeing none, is there a motion to close the nominations? So moved. And second. There's a second. Thank you. All in favor of closing the nominations? Aye. Okay. So the nominations for Ward 1 City Council Member are closed. Next up is Ward 3. Are there nominations for City Council Member for Ward 3?
Hi, good evening. I'm Howard Cohn. My wife Diana and I have lived here 35 years in Ward 3, and it's my honor to nominate Casey Koziak for the Ward 3 seat on the City Council. But before I do that, or say more about her, I want to thank all the members of the City Council who have served all these years, and particularly Rizzy, our Ward 3 representative, and Kate, our mayor. And I bring up Kate partly because I think Casey will bring the same energetic, dynamic leadership that Kate has brought. They are part of a new, younger generation. Well, at my age, everybody's part of a younger generation. But, well, when I say new, let me clarify. Casey is not, strictly speaking, new to Tacoma Park. She and her husband, Damien, have been here 7 years. They've put down roots. They are raising 2 boys, Alex and Peter. And Casey's been a volunteer. You've seen her if you go to the play days where you find free fun for everyone. She's there leading the games. And before her son enrolled at Tacoma Park Elementary, she had already volunteered for the PTA. She's in charge of the 5K challenge. On a more serious level, she, as a member of the Safe Roadways Committee, most recently as chair, has had influence on traffic calming, snow removal, biking, walking, things important to us. And from her professional life, she will bring to the City Council, check these off, budgets, grants, communications. Those are her skills, her talents, her qualifications. But when we vote for somebody, we're voting for the person. So let me tell you 2 quick stories. Casey and her husband, Damien, did not meet in a bar or online or at a political fundraiser. They met they met in Uzbekistan. They were Peace Corps volunteers, and their romance flourished under pretty challenging times. Think about that. And then let me tell you how I met Casey. She was a special guest at the Recreation Committee. Now, most of our special guests, well, they think they're special, right? They try to claim the spotlight, steal the show. Casey waited her turn, was patient, and then she stole the show. I think that's what she will do on City Council. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there seconds to the nomination of Casey Koziak for Ward 3 City Council member?
Hi, my name is Sharon Denise Rogers. I typically go by Ren. I live in Ward 3, and I met Casey at the Safe Roadways Committee around 3 years ago. She is a neighbor and now a very good friend. Together, we work to advance improving sidewalks, snow clearing, and several traffic calming initiatives. Casey was also key and fundamental in planning our booth at the 2015 Street Festival here. And I would describe Casey as a compassionate, concerned citizen. And I believe she would make an outstanding Ward 3 council member. And it is for that reason I nominated her for the second nomination of Ward 3. Thank you.
Thank you. Did anyone else want to? Yes. Looks like we have another speaker.
Hi, my name's Anna Keller. I live on Lincoln Avenue in Ward 3, and I'd also like to second the nomination of Casey. I've known Casey for about 7 years. We first met at the bus stop at Carroll Avenue in Lincoln, and we often rode the bus together. I watched her settle into life in Tacoma Park and start raising a family, and as a neighbor, she's been open, approachable, and friendly. She's a thoughtful listener, and I know she's going to make a great communicator. She cares deeply about our community, and she has the energy and the intellect and the instinct to do an excellent job for Ward 3. I believe she'll make a real difference for Tacoma Park. Thank you.
Thank you. Does anyone else want to speak as a second to the nomination? Seeing none. You're in a different ward.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, is there anyone else who wanted to serve as a second to that nomination? Okay. Seeing none, are there any additional nominations for City Council for Ward 3? It looks like there are not any additional nominations. Seeing that, is there a motion to close nominations for City Council Ward 3? And second. All in favor? Okay. Any opposed? Nominations for City Council Member Ward 3 are now closed. Next, City Council Member Ward 5. Are there any nominations for City Council Member Ward 5? I see someone here. Let him, you go after. Okay.
Hi, good evening. My name is Frank Demaray, Ward 5. I'm standing up to nominate Jarrett Smith, our current council member, and to stand with Jarrett because he's been standing with us for the duration of his service. He's very responsive. He takes care of the business of the city very efficiently. He takes care of his residents of his ward very efficiently. And it's not just the parochial issues he's been advocating for, which include the greenscapes on Flower Avenue, which is just going to be gorgeous, standing up to Washington Adventists on their height issue, which saved us from looking at 65-foot height across the campus, and standing up for tax fairness in the city. He's also standing for and being very active in issues across the community. These include building support for the community with organizations like Man Up, creating Montgomery County Scholarship for Tacoma Park, working toward regional law enforcement improvements, and improving our plastic bag ordinance. Jarrett's taking roles here that are not just words, not just advocacy. He's taking leadership roles. He's very active with the Maryland Municipal League, currently leading the Maryland Municipal League, representing the issues of small communities across the state. That's critical for a lot of the things that we need to be working with. He worked the task force for the National League of Cities, representing issues for our region, and legislation on racial equality in Maryland. We were very fortunate to get Jarrett to represent us. He does a lot of heavy lifting. We're very pleased that he's gone broadly with his efforts. He's built community efforts. He's built relationships. These are the kinds of things that take some time. Planted a lot of seeds. We're watching seeds grow. We really asked for him to continue. He asked us to ask him to continue. And as a representative of our community, I'm very happy to nominate Jarrett Smith to continue that service. Thank you.
Thank you. I see a second to the nomination.
Hi, my name is Shawanda Oliver, and I'm a resident of the Essex House Apartments down on Maple Avenue. And I'm here to second the nomination for Jarrett Smith for Ward 5. What else can this person do to prove that he is successful at what he does? There's a list of things that he has accomplished since I've known him. If I were to read that list, we will probably be here till the next nominating caucus, for the list is long as he is tall. All right, Jarrett. But I'm sure this list can be found on his website if anyone's interested. Whenever he is called upon to get something done, he does it. I'm a witness. I am also sure that there are many things that need to be addressed in Ward 5. So who else can we call upon? Jarrett Smith. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any additional speakers to serve as second for Jarrett Smith? Okay.
I'll be brief as well. My name is Denise Jones, and I'm also a resident of Essex House Apartments, a longtime resident of Tacoma Park. Let me see, I have an AWOL 22-year-old who's in Texas now. Let's see. I wanted to stand in support of Jarrett because he's always at local events, big and small. He definitely has a spirit of giving of his time, his talents, his treasures, and I'm very, very appreciative of the support that he's given the people of Ward 5. He, in particular, supports capacity building of the residents of Ward 5 through, and I'll just name a few things, the Lunch and Learn program that supports low-income children and their families over the summer, ACE Academy, which is an after-school program also supporting low-income children here in Tacoma Park, and various tenant associations and their issues here. He's been an avid supporter of youth development organizations, Man Up, which you heard referenced before, the Tacoma Park Youth Collaborative, and even my business, Brass Ring Company. I am a proud supporter of Jarrett Smith for Ward 5. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any additional seconds to the nomination of Jarrett Smith?
Good evening. My name is Gina Henderson. I live in Ward 5, and I've lived there for about 15 years, and I want to second the nomination of Jarrett Smith. He's a neighbor, a wonderful neighbor. A lot of his initiatives have been mentioned already, but I do want to drive home the point that he secured $1 million for the Flower Avenue Street Initiative. He has developed long-term solutions with developers aimed at protecting residents and allowing us to enjoy our city. He, as it's been said, he's president of the Montgomery County chapter of the Maryland Municipal League. He's also very responsive to constituents. I approached him. I was helping to work on the Sanctuary Cities event that we had, and he was really great about helping get sources, and thanks to him, he's one of the reasons it was such a great success. So in short, he's a leader with a proven track record, and he's the best person to represent Ward 5. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who wanted to speak as a second to the nomination of Jarrett Smith?
Hi, my name is Tabebu Asaf. I live on 7720 Carroll Avenue. If I may say a few comments before I talk about Jarrett. I am a proud resident of Tacoma Park. I love you guys. This is where democracy is. You know, Mayor Kate said the other day, laboratory of democracy. You're right, baby. And I lost hope at the White House. I regained my sanity here. So it's a great pleasure to stand before you. Second to that, you know, a long time ago I served on the compensation committee, and I was shocked. Do you know how much these guys are paid? Oh, my God. I mean, I have a great desire to serve, but I will never serve because I can't afford it. It takes a great commitment. So to all of you who've served us in the past, to all of you who are competing today, to all of you who are going to step up, you have my utmost respect and admiration. I love you. I love your commitment to public service. That said, my dear friend Jarrett, how are you? I live on the corner of Carroll and Garland, so I always catch him going and coming. And he always, no matter what, he always comes to my front porch, and we'll have a chat about small politics, big politics, and he amazes me. He is deep down. I'm not going to tell you about the work he's done because everybody's spoken. You all know it. I'm going to talk to the core characteristics of Jarrett Smith. Here, he is a passionate community servant, a public servant. He's knowledgeable, he's smart, he's witty, he has time, and he's tireless. I get tired listening to his issues. And I have my own issues, and so it was a great humility and privilege. I stand before you to express my utmost respect for Jarrett's commitment to our common good, and Another comment I'd like to make. I used to live in Ward 4. I had an active ward council person who kept me busy. And actually, not only him, his beloved wife as well. So when I went to Ward 5, I thought I was going to get a break. But there we go again. So with that, I will say it's a great honor to stand before you. It's a privilege to be a resident of Takoma Park. My dear friend, I nominate my dear friend, Jared Smith, to serve us once again. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Viva Takoma Park!
Thank you. Is there anyone else who wanted to speak as a second to the nomination of Jared Smith?
Everybody, my name is Glenda Roberts, and I too am a resident of Ward 5. I just want to ditto what everyone else has said, but additionally, and on a personal note, that I've experienced is the fact that Jared Smith, when he comes to know you as one of the residents in his community, in his ward, he makes absolutely certain that he tries to figure out how you can perhaps fit into the community. I've seen that with my son, and I've seen that with myself, where once he becomes engaged with you, you become engaged with him, he tries to make recommendations as to where and what you can do to better the community as well as the county overall. So with that said, my voting is with Jared Smith. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who wanted to speak as a second to the nomination of Jared Smith? Okay, seeing none, are there any additional nominations for City Council member for Ward 5?
Hi everyone, my name is Adam Byrne. I live in Ward 5, and I couldn't be prouder to be here tonight to nominate my wife, Amy Byrne, as a candidate for the City Council for Ward 5. Amy and I have been married for 6 years, and I know that her compassion, drive, patience, definitely patience, and leadership will make her a fine representative for our neighbourhood. As a renter in the heart of Ward 5, she's familiar with the struggles that our neighbours face on a daily basis. She wants to make sure that renters know their rights and they're protected by inspections that can be carried out here by our city and not by a county inspector based far away from here. Amy will bring Ward 5 together. In fact, she has already, with a community movie night and our own tenant association. As an urban planner, she knows what it will take to make Ward 5 a safer place to live. She's been an intern with the city in this very building, so she already has a head start on implementing her ideas. Being married to a Takoma Park volunteer firefighter, that's me, Amy knows the public safety challenges that face our community, including the need to keep an ER at Washington Adventist. Amy is persistent, and she'll fight for every resident who comes to her with a concern. She won't fob them off even if their concern isn't technically her responsibility. Amy's determined not only to represent those who are already engaged here in the city, but to be there for those who are underrepresented, be it because of where they live or the language they speak. And I'm delighted that we have some first-time Takoma Park voters with us as well here. She will always be accessible to our community, online and in person, and she'll work to establish Ward 5 as a recognised, even more recognised part of Takoma Park. It's not going to be, obviously, a big money campaign run by political consultants. It's about friends helping friends, neighbours helping neighbours. It's about people working together. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there a second to the nomination of Amy Byrne?
Hello, everybody. I'm Crystal Williams, and I'm from Ward 5, and I'm here to second Amy as a nominee. I just want to say, sometimes you know your neighbors' houses, but you don't always know your neighbors. And I got to say, Amy brought us She makes sure all of us get to know each other. She would come knocking on our doors to just like round us all up so we get familiar with each other. And my sister and I, we were members of Washington Adventist University. Whoop whoop. It's real quick. And we went back home. We're from Florida, originally from Jamaica, but we went back home after college. And one day we just like, because, you know, we love Tacoma Park so much, whoop whoop, and we just packed up everything and came back here and we started living. We've been living here since 2010. And I gotta say, we love it here, and we're here with you, Amy. You've been she's a big sister, and she's been like a great neighbor. Peace, y'all.
Thank you. Does anyone else want to speak as a second to the nomination of Amy Barron?
Okay, guys, I'm not as energetic as my sister. I had a long day at work. But definitely we nominate Amy as we second the nomination for Amy. She has done very well with allowing our community not to just be a word on paper, but allowing us to be more than that and more so a family. So even recently when we had our movie night, we had an opportunity to meet people in the neighborhood, which was like really cool. So we were able to, you know, get to know people, realize that we had a lot in common with other people within the community. And she doesn't leave out the young kids. It's not just about the adults in the community, but it's about every single person that live within Ward 5. And I have to say, some evening I go home and I'm like, yo, Amy's mad cool. Like, the way she think of everyone, and living in an apartment complex where we might not have known everyone there, and now it's like everyone look out for each other. It's not just about us living in apartment 5, but it's about looking out for someone else's vehicle if something's wrong, or looking out for someone else if they're in need of trouble. And now I know that if I get home and I'm in trouble and I need some type of help, I feel like I can rely on the members within our building as well as Amy. But yeah, we're here for you, and I think she'll be a great candidate. But vote, man.
Just take a moment to tell us who you are.
Shamika Williams, Ward 5.
Is there anyone else who wanted to second the nomination of Amy Barron for City Council Ward 5?
All right, hello. I'm Kaku Komanan. I'm originally from Ivory Coast, and I actually work in Virginia as a bartender, and I live all the way in Tacoma Park because I moved to my cousin's apartment in Tacoma Park for what was supposed to be a week or two, and Amy and everybody in the building were so nice. I felt more like a community than just an apartment or just somewhere where I can come and live, so I decided to stay in Tacoma Park. The community in Tacoma Park is amazing. It's not like just moving somewhere and then trying to have to meet everybody on your own. Amy facilitated that a lot. We know everybody's name in the building. We know who drives which car. If there's a problem with something, we all help each other out.
Make sure you speak in the mic.
Sorry, a little too tall.
Yep.
All these short people. I'm joking. When I was speaking to Amy also about what she wanted to do within the neighborhood, she told me a lot about safety with pedestrians and safety with bicycles, because she's very active. She goes to the gym a lot. She's very, very involved in the community as far as getting all the kids in the neighborhood to play outside and not be inside. I know she might not have as much experience as people that have been in this position for a long time. However, she's one of the most motivated people I've met, and she's very, very driven. And I believe in her. Vote Amy Barron, Ward 5.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who wanted to speak as a second to the nomination of? Come
Satchel Kornfeld, recent Ward 5 resident. Just want to speak in support of Amy. I think she'll do great for the area and wish her the best.
Thank you. So we have another speaker here. Yes.
I am short, by the way. Hi, my name is Jocelyn Rodriguez. I live in Ward 5. I'm here to support Amy Byrne. Here's why. She cares for everyone, no matter what your race is. I've known her for 6 years. She's trustworthy. I believe she is the perfect person to represent us. Also, as a non-citizen, thank you for the opportunity to vote. It makes me feel welcome. May I say it in Spanish? Yeah. Hola, mi nombre es Jocelyn Rodríguez. Vivo en la sala 5. Estoy aquí para apoyar a Amy. Mis razones son que se preocupa por todos, no importa cuál sea su raza. La conozco desde hace 6 años. Es digna de confianza. Creo que ella es la persona perfecta para representarnos. También como un non-citizen, gracias por la oportunidad de votar. Me hace sentir bienvenida.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who wanted to speak as a second to the nomination of Amy Byrne? Just once. Okay. Seeing none, are there any additional nominations for City Council Member Ward 5? All right. Is there a motion to close nominations? Yep. And all right. All in favor? Aye. Okay. Any opposed? All right. Nominations for Ward 5 City Council Member are closed. Next is Ward 6. Are there any nominations for City Council of Ward 6?
Good evening. I'm Mark Wurzbacher. I've lived in Ward 6 since 1990, and I've been waiting a long time this evening to nominate my neighbor on Wildwood Drive, Talisha Sosi, to represent Ward 6 on the City Council. One of my primary reasons for nominating her is her performance as the president of the New Hampshire Gardens Community Association. We just renamed it for 2 years, 2014 to 2016, during which she demonstrated vim and vigor and prominently led our efforts to strengthen and grow our active membership and enthusiastically participated in both the civic life of our association as well as the social life of its membership. She vigorously represented our concerns and issues and problems working with our current councilperson, Fred Schultz, and actively worked with him to keep current on all municipal issues impacting upon the neighborhood and the city, meaning she had to go to a lot of different meetings, a lot of different times with a lot of different people doing different things, and included her current active membership on the Tacoma Junction Communications Committee. She's originally from Atlanta, has resided in Ward 6 for the past 4 years with her niece, Marquita, who is a senior at Montgomery Blair High, and she works as the Director of Research and Evaluation at the Office of the National Coordinator for Health Information Technology. That's part of DHHS. And she has a master's degree in economics and public administration, which is rather apropos for a council person. Her campaign platform includes continuing to do what she's already been doing, champion redevelopment of the Tacoma Park Recreation Center, prioritize the development of affordable and accessible housing throughout the city, and drive smart economic growth in the Tacoma-Langley Business District, in particular relative to the development of the Will It Ever Get Here Purple Line and managing its impact upon the residents and businesses of Ward 6 and the rest of the city. Talisha is ready to take her next step in a civic career to represent the entirety of Ward 6 on the City Council. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there a second to the nomination of Talisha Searcy?
Hi, my name is Christopher Hinton. I'm your neighbor in Ward 6. I've known Talisha for about 5 years now. She moved in to our neighborhood about 6 months after we first moved in. I'm not 26, but my wife had to drag me out of the city nonetheless to get me to live here. And one of the things that have made it so wonderful has been neighbors that we've had the opportunity to meet being here. And Talisha's been a standout there. Her home has become practically a second home to my 2 small children. She's always been very warm and considerate. She's always presented a lot of energy and enthusiasm when it comes to our community, and I'm very excited that she will be the council member at the time of the Purple Line coming in, because I know that she will be putting a lot of effort into making sure that we are well represented through that process. Second her nomination, and thank you very much.
Thank you. Looks like we have another second to the nomination.
Hi, my name is Carolyn Bobb, and I live in Ward 6, and I will be super quick because it is really late. So I am proud to second the nomination for Talisha. I served with her as her vice president on the New Hampshire Gardens Community Association, and we have walked the entire ward, which is by far the largest. So we have met everybody. Talisha did all the jobs I didn't want to do. So when we first met, we're like, they basically had to make us be president and vice president. And so she went to all the meetings. She did all of the surveys. And I'm like, I'll plan the parties and block parties. So we're a very good team. So I am running her campaign. I will be planning all our block parties. And she just has the patience to do this job. I live next door to Fred Schultz. So I'm kind of like, I know a lot about the city council. But this is like my 4th meeting, and so I don't think I could do this. And so I am proud to have a friend who I know has the drive and the ability to do it, and I'll be proud to vote for her for Ward 6. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who wants to speak as a second to the nomination? All right. Seeing no one, is there a motion to close the nominations for Ward 6? Okay, all in favor? No. Did you want to? I'm so sorry. Are there any additional nominations for City Council Ward 6?
Yes. Hi, good night. My name is Dwayne Scott. It's been a long night, been a long day, but I'm here. Glad to see everybody here. My name is Dwayne Scott, and I am here, and it's my pleasure to nominate Jason Small as a candidate for Ward 6 City Council member. I am a lifelong Montgomery County resident and have lived in Tacoma Park for the past 3 years. I came to know Jason through, we are neighbors. I'm on Jackson Avenue. He's there on Lancaster, but we really came to know each other through our sons playing soccer together at Tacoma Soccer. And through that experience, we got to know each other. We became close friends and family friends, eating dinners at each other's house. And one of the things I've gotten to know about Jason is that he has a deep and unabiding love for becoming involved in issues within the community, particularly when it comes to economic housing, job fairness, things of that nature. We've had many discussions on how he would think and believe he could move things forward in our neck of the woods over by Ward 6, which involves the economic development of the Langley Park Tacoma crossroads, Langley Park and Tacoma Park crossroads, as well as fair housing and economic development. Is one of the things that I have grown to respect about Jason is his deep level-headedness, patience, and enthusiasm and energy. And I think that those are the qualities I would like to see in a city council member. So those are the reasons I would like to nominate. I take this opportunity to nominate him for city council as a city council member. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there a second to the nomination of Jason Small for Ward 6 City Council?
So first, I wanted to thank Adam for not being the only person who is nominating her spouse. So my name is Jumana Musa. Jason Small is my husband. And as long as I've known him, he has been involved in whatever community he's in. He grew up in central Illinois from the Midwest. He definitely has that Midwesterner, says hello to everybody. If you know us as neighbors, it's probably because you met him first. I grew up in Syracuse. It was cold. It was snowy. We never went outside. So, he's definitely the ambassador of our house. But, when I met him, he was on the board of visitors of his college. He went back to his hometown for a while. He was on the board of the City Arts Council. He was a judge for Teen Court, which was a program to help divert kids out of the criminal justice system. He's always been involved at some level. In his professional life, he's done almost everything that would help you figure out how to be a good council member. He worked on affordable housing for the Poverty and Race Research Action Council, helping implement a fair housing decision and opportunity housing in Maryland. These are terms that I didn't even understand until he explained them to me, right, which is the idea that you don't stick public housing all in one place, far away from any opportunities, but you spread it around so people can get to jobs and education and food and other things. He's worked at the United Way on issues like workforce development, opportunity youth, again, terms that I didn't get, but it's essentially providing jobs and providing pathways for the young folks in the community to come up and to do things. He's worked on education. He's worked on sort of everything under the sun that would help a town run. But I think probably most directly, he's currently the town administrator for Capitol Heights, Maryland, so he totally gets, how small government works in ways that I don't. But those aren't his only qualities. He's not just a friendly Midwestern guy who says hello to everybody, but he's the one who is willing to coach the soccer team, and he does coach a soccer team. And so if you do PK4 soccer, Coach Jason starts on Saturday. He's a very good soccer coach, but he's involved in the community on every level, right? Whether it's talking to the neighbor, whether it's thinking through what they need on a longer term basis, coaching soccer, playing with the kids out in the yard, inviting the neighbors' kids over to the yard. And I know, he thought hard about this, and I was sort of pushing him from behind. And so I'm really glad and proud to be up here today to nominate him. And obviously you'll be voting for him for Ward 6. Thanks.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who wants to speak as a second to the nomination of Jason Smalls? Okay, no one else is speaking. Are there any additional nominations for City Council Ward 6? Do I have it this time? Okay. All right, is there a motion to close the nominations for Ward 6? All right, all in favor? Okay. Any opposed? Okay. Nominations for Ward 6 City Council are now closed. So now we move on to mayor. So are there any nominations for mayor for City of Tacoma Park?
Yep. Sure is.
Well, we have one. Mr. Lovelace, we've got someone before you, and then we'll speak.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Althea Davey. I'm in Ward 1, and I am nominating our current mayor, Mayor Kate Stewart, for re-election this term. As an observer of the City Council, I have seen Kate weekly be dedicated to the city and be engaged with everything that this city has to offer. I have learned so much from seeing Kate Stewart in the council leading this city, and I think that I doubt that I would be able to say that I am involved and engaged in city politics and city government without Kate Stewart. She has given opportunities to youth, and she has given opportunities to everyone in Tacoma Park to get involved, and she is going to work hard this upcoming term to create affordable housing, economic development along the New Hampshire Avenue area with the new rec center, and hopefully some affordable housing developed with that. And she, during her past term on the council, with the council, they have created a racial equity impact statement on every city policy, And along with environmental impact and fiscal impact, there's now a racial equity impact statement saying who is disproportionately affected by different policies that the city government puts in place. I am a 16-year-old, and it makes me extremely happy that this is the first election that I will be able to vote in, and I'm proud that that vote will be cast for Mayor Kate Stewart.
Thank you. I think Mr. Lovelace wanted to second the nomination of Kate Stewart.
Yes, my name is Pat Lovelace, your official peace delegate, and I've come to almost every meeting I could get to, and I have seen how well Kate Stewart has done in running the meetings. If somebody shows her disrespect, she does not back down. And I like that in a person. You have to be able to control your meeting, and she seems to be doing that pretty well. And also, I want to thank her very, very much for also sending me those flowers that I got at the hospital. It's the first time in my life I have ever gotten anything like that. I thought that happened only in the movies. But I got it, and it said I had a card from Mayor Kate Stewart and the City Council at Tacoma Park, wishing me well. And I thank her very much for that. She shows a lot of concern for me and her fellow human being. And that is why I want to nominate Kate Stewart for mayor of Tacoma Park. Continue being my mayor. If it's not broke, why fix it? Because you're only going to screw up if you choose something you don't know what you're doing. I know what I got for Kate Stewart for my mayor, and I love it very much. And so, Mayor Kate Stewart, I nominate you to be my mayor for the next term. Thank you very much. Love it, love it, love it.
Thank you. Did anyone else want to second the nomination of Kate Stewart?
Good evening, folks. I'm David Moon, a resident of Ward 4, and I'd like to second the nomination of Kate Stewart for another term as mayor, this time for 3 years. For those of you who don't know me, I represent you in Tacoma Park in Annapolis, and so, the hour is late, but I just wanted to give you a very brief glimpse into my interactions with our current mayor. And I will tell you that you will not find a better ambassador for the residents of the city, the perspectives of the city, and the city's needs than Kate Stewart. If you were to go around and talk to my colleagues from outside Tacoma Park in Montgomery County, and even outside of Montgomery County, many of them have heard of Kate Stewart. And that's because she's been very proactive in actually presenting the city's agenda to lawmakers from around the state and getting involved in the political scene, which is what you want to do in order to get those views out. She's also the most accessible politician I deal with. I can text her pretty much at any time, find out why the heck we have weird streetlights in front of City Hall now, and get a quick answer from her on that. And most importantly, she is a positive, unifying voice and presence for this city in what we know is a very challenging political climate for people of our cut from our cloth. And I'll tell you, I knew that our new mayor was on the right path when she was one of the first public officials in Maryland to speak out to defend the immigrants and the Muslim residents of our state from the challenges we face. So I hope you'll all join me in supporting her for another term as mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who wanted to speak as a second to the nomination?
Hello, I'm Jason Small. I live in Ward 6, and I actually hadn't planned on nominating or seconding Kate's nomination today. I met Kate last time around when I ran as a write-in candidate for Ward 6, and she extended herself to me as a resident and as a potential candidate for office here in a really open way. And ever since then, I've been kind of watching from relatively afar. making sure that things went the way that I thought they were going to go with her in the helm as our mayor. And so I just wanted to say that for someone to engender the kind of passion that you brought out in citizens in the town, and for the things that I've seen in the newspaper and your enthusiasm for Tacoma Park, I'm happy to second this nomination.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who wanted to, here we go, speak as a second?
Good evening, everyone. My name is Doris Duarte, and I live at 7401 New Hampshire Avenue, the big building on New Hampshire Avenue that people think that it is part of Prince George's County. No, we are residents of City of Tacoma Park, Montgomery County. And I'm here to say I'm second the nomination of Kate Stewart. And the reason why I'm second the nomination, this individual has brought the homeowners together, the renters together, and have made this city a city that is recognized by the United States residents and overseas. Because when you mention the City of Tacoma Park, and of course, you know, I always have my phone, and I go to the Lunch and Learn program, and I show them the different programs we have. This city is wonderful, and I really like to thank the city council members and the mayor. I'd like to thank the Fred Schultz, Ward 6, my city council member, for all the years you have volunteered. Rizzy, Tim, and the rest of and Jared and the rest of the city council members. I also would like to thank Terry, who is not only the city council member for his ward, but also for my ward. As a nominee for the city council, it's not part-time, okay? I just want to correct that right there. It's not part-time. It's giving of your time to the residents. So as a resident, I would like to thank everybody for giving of your time. Kate, if you need her, you just text her and she'll text you back, or she'll send you an email and you say, oh, wow, I just sent that 5 minutes ago and she's responding to me. And I would also like to thank her for recognizing that the youth have a voice, and also for recognizing that everyone in the city of Tacoma Park does not have money to buy food, and that the seniors, they need help, and for everything the city council has done for the village of Tacoma Park and the other organizations. So I would like to second the nomination for Kate Stewart. And I would also like to thank her family for letting her volunteer to help the residents. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who would like to second the nomination?
This might go on for a while, huh? Hi, my name is Ashley Nugent, and I live in Ward 2. Lots of people have spoken about Kate's accolades, so I'm going to tell a personal story for a second. One of the greatest inspirations of my life has been my husband, Francis, and his gift to me is my sister-in-law, Gabi, who has an intellectual disability. After the November election, Gabi was shaken to her core, to say the least. It was very hard to explain to Gabi why her favorite candidate didn't win, and she was devastated. It took a few months, and she met Kate. Kate has not only re-energized Gabi's political soul, but she has filled a part of her heart that went away when Hillary lost. If you all saw Gabi at Mayor Stewart's re-election campaign, she would not leave her side as much as we tried. She stood next to her, she laughed at her jokes, and she was genuinely engaged. And I just want to personally thank you for that. That means so much to our family, and it means the world to Gabi. Kate's kindness not only spreads to persons with disabilities, but to everyone. She not only leads by example, but she really leads arm in arm. And I'm happy to live in a city that she's at the helm of. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Shawanda Oliver, and I'm from Ward 5. I live in the Essex House on Maple Avenue. I just want to say there's nothing I can say that everyone doesn't already know about this lady. We have seen what she has done for Tacoma Park. We know how she feels about community. She loves what she does. If she didn't, she wouldn't be as she's doing. Wait a minute, let me do that again. We know how she feels about community. She loves what she does. If she didn't, she wouldn't be as good as she is doing what she has shown us since the previous election. So, therefore, nothing more I can say other than let's just leave well enough alone. And I second the nomination for Kate Stewart for mayor. Tacoma Park.
Thanks. Is there anyone else who wants to speak as a second?
Lucy, I know you're supposed to go before we talk. I got to get home. Wow, it's cool to be at this podium. It is my distinct honor to be here to nominate the candidacy of my colleague, my friend, and my mayor, Kate Stewart. Kate embodies leadership in every facet of her life, personal, professional, and public. She is a mom to beautiful, successful, and compassionate kids in Jamie and Bridget. Her campaign's inner core is composed of her husband, college sweetheart John, her children, and her mother-in-law, Barbara Griffith, who is her treasurer. I mean, if you can't trust a woman who trusts her mother-in-law with her money. She's a professional. She's a principal at a leading communications firm and has a career track record of empowering youth. And publicly, I can speak as a council member. Behind the scenes, I will not mitigate anything my colleagues Tim Mayle, Jared Smith, Fred Schultz, Peter Kovar, Terry Siemens have done, but she moves us forward in a thoughtful way and effectively works with our city manager to ensure that the council's direction is implemented in every way. She leads as mayor with transparency, with council, the staff, and residents alike. Somebody said this earlier, she's more responsive than some of her own ward representatives. You always are sitting at work and you're like, man, Kate responded before I had an opportunity. But that's your mayor, and that's what makes her great. She's collaborative in her approach and has brought back civility to this chamber. It's not about arguing, it's about keeping an order to move forward on issues that are important to us, and that is important. What I most appreciate about her leadership is that as mayor, she has led an inclusive government. Some examples that I think we're all aware of, the community lunches and coffees. The lunches take place in some of those neighborhoods in our community where those residents are not here tonight. All of you that are here, most of you I've seen before. But what matters and what matters to Kate most is the people who are not in this room, and that's important. Yeah. She's also led the effort along with Megan Murphy and Captain Collington and the Unity and Community Initiative way before. I'm already hitting my 33 minutes? Wow. Way before. Well, good thing Kate's not monitoring the clock.
Hey.
With the Unity and Community Initiative, I mean, there's countless things that she's presided over as mayor, although we all had a role, whether it be the housing reserve for affordable housing, whether it's syncing our elections that Tim Mayle led and Kate supported, whether it's sustainability and converting our street lights, with whether it's getting a paramedic here, and the racial equity impact. The last thing I will say that Kate has been important to me about is that she's provided me some thoughtful knowledge about how to approach the job. And I very much appreciate that. And it's very easy to say as a woman at your helm to say, you know what, my daughter, I hope she amounts to you. Actually, I hope my son becomes half the woman that you are. Thank you for being our mayor.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who wanted to speak as a second to the nomination of Kate Stewart for mayor?
Hi, I'm Licia Merriman, and I live in Ward 3. I just want to say I am so moved by everyone and everything that everyone has to say about all of the candidates. And I am also so thankful to see so many women tonight be nominated. That means a lot to me. So Kate started out as my city council member, and I would write her a lot. She knew at the time my kids they're still small, but they were really small, and getting to city council meetings was really challenging for me. So I would often write to Kate, and she would write right back and keep me up to date on things and say, maybe we can have childcare at the city council meetings, or if your daughter wants to come sit, she's sitting right now with Kate. And she's really inspired youth and the children in our community. She takes them seriously. It's been a really rough year as a mom, looking around at what's happening. I mean, really rough. And I know that Kate thinks about the things that I think about. And I sit here in Tacoma Park so thankful to have the community that I have and to have the home that I have. But I sit in privilege. And I'm really concerned about people who are under attack right now. And I know that Kate is thinking about them. I know that Kate is trying to make this city an inclusive city and an effective city, a responsive city for all of the residents. And I care so deeply about that. And I followed her around. I'm fortunate. And every time I go places, people know who she is. And she genuinely loves meeting people. She empowers people around her. I look at some of the women in this room, and I look at young girls in this room, and I know that they're empowered by Kate. And that leadership means so much to me in a time like this right now. It's compassionate, and it's effective. And I didn't read at all what I wrote. But here I just went on and said, thank you so much, and I love you all, Tacoma Park.
Okay, thank you. Is there anyone else who wanted to speak as a second to the nomination?
Hi, my name's Casey Kostick. I live in Ward 3, and I just wanted to build on that exact same topic. I met Kate about 4 years ago, almost 5, when I was a new member of the Safe Roadways Committee, and she reached out to me and really encouraged me to take an active role in the community. And that meant a lot to me. It wasn't something that was immediately on my radar. I had very young kids, and I wanted to get involved, but I wasn't sure that it was something that was right for me at that time. And she reached out and said, a lot of times no one comes and asks young women to be involved. And it meant a lot to me that she did that. And it continues to mean a lot to me. And I know that she does that with others as well. I'm not the only one she did that with. So I know that she will continue to lead in a way that really empowers people. And for that, I thank you very much, Kate.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who wants to speak as a second to the nomination of Kate Stewart for mayor? All right, I'm not going to make the same mistake twice. Are there any other nominations for the office of mayor? Seeing none, is there a motion to close the nominations for mayor? And in favor, speak now. All right, is there anyone opposed? All right, the nominations for mayor and for council members are closed. So, Brian Ernst will read the names.
Thanks, Jesse. The candidates you've chosen this evening are, in order of ward and also in order of nomination, for Ward 1, Peter Kovar. For Ward 2, Ashley Nugent, Cindy Dybala, Joe Edgell. For Ward 3, Casey Kostick. For Ward 4, Terry Siemens. For Ward 5, Jared Smith, Amy Byrne. For Ward 6, Talisha Searcy and Jason Small. And for Mayor, Kate Stewart. These candidates' names will appear on the ballot on November 7th. Unless they decline the nomination in writing to Jesse by the close of business on Friday, September 15th, or if they fail to meet any of the requirements for having their name on the ballot.
Okay. Before we adjourn for the evening, I have just a few brief announcements. If any of the candidates have any questions, please don't hesitate to contact me. And there is important paperwork that has to be submitted on time. So if anyone has any questions about that, please contact me. There's information on the website for candidates. I want to encourage all of you to encourage others to register to vote in the election. And we accept voter registration here at the city and in the library next door. So definitely encourage people to register to vote. Let's see, what else? We have early voting this year from November 1 to November 5, and there's a slip of paper on the table over there which will give the exact hours and locations for early voting. And I think I want to ask if there are any questions or announcements. Yeah.
Hello, my name's Eric Bond, Ward 3 resident and editor of Tacoma Voice. Our 30th anniversary is this December. And as always, the wonderful Jessie Carpenter has helped us arrange a candidates forum for October 23rd at 7 p.m. right here in the council chambers. And so if I'll be reaching out to candidates, but please reach out to me as well. I have a very easy email address to remember. It's talk@tacoma.com. And that brings me to the second part of the announcement, which as a person heading up public affairs at our Tacoma radio station, which just had its first anniversary, we are hoping to put on the air virtual or on-air forums for each of the different contested races. And so again, please reach out to me, talk@tacoma.com, to try to arrange some forums over 94.3 FM, WOWD LP, Tacoma Park.
Thank you. That's great. So there being no further business, is there a motion to adjourn? Okay. And all in favor? Okay, the meeting is adjourned, and thank you all.